Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Kev and today I want to talk about discipline. So on this channel I talk a lot about the importance of diet, movement and various other things when it comes to managing psoriatic arthritis. But all of that stuff, while it's great, doesn't really have an impact unless you can apply it consistently in your life. And in order to do that, you need to employ some discipline. And discipline can be a very challenging thing. So today I want to offer some tips and advice around how you can become more disciplined. So whether you're managing a condition like psoriatic arthritis or you just want to bring some more discipline to your life, this video will hopefully be very helpful for you. But before we talk about discipline, we need to talk about motivation. An entire mini industry has kind of sprung up around motivational content. The idea is that you watch one of these motivational videos or you look at some pictures on Instagrams that have some, nice quotes on it, and you get all hyped up and then magically become successful. There's a whole bit in the middle that's missing, but watch motivational content, something happens, you become successful. You've probably seen some of this content that I'm talking about. Usually it starts with some kind of slow building but epic sounding music like this. Then comes the black and white video cuts of people looking sad. There's a voice talking over it. It's getting louder. It speaks with such intensity that the words start to appear on the screen. As things get even more intense, the video starts to change. The people aren't sad anymore. It's working. They're motivated. Or maybe they take a softer approach and go with some awe-inspiring shots of nature or of some happy families. Then there's a story or a speech, often by someone famous. Once again, the words of the speaker begin to appear on your screen, fading in and out as they tell their didactic little parable. Maybe they throw a few quotes at you, like this. Or this. And it feels good to watch, really good. It taps into something deep inside of you. That feeling that you can do it too, that you're doing it right now, that you're already succeeding, just sitting there. But then an hour passes and you've done nothing but binge on motivational content. Maybe you tell yourself tomorrow is the day where everything changes, but then tomorrow comes and nothing changes. The thing is, motivation can't really be instilled in you by some well-produced video or a few nice quotes on Instagram. Real motivation comes from a deep understanding of what you're trying to do and, most importantly, why you're trying to do it. My motivation for wanting to eat right and exercise comes from not wanting to live with the pain of psoriatic arthritis. And even that doesn't work all the time. It's interesting because the days where I'm feeling bad, if I'm feeling sore, I wake up stiff like today, I'm much more motivated to eat well, to get out and walk and to loosen up and kind of get rid of the pain. It's on the days where I'm feeling good that it's hard for me to stay motivated. That piece of chocolate there, what harm could it do? I'm feeling pretty good today, so I'm going to have some of it. So motivation is fleeting. Try and avoid falling into the trap of binging on motivational content. That content is kind of like junk food. Sure, it feels great to eat it at the time, but afterwards you kind of just end up feeling like crap. Now, of course, it's okay to eat a bit of junk food from time to time. It might even be beneficial, but you probably don't want to live off the stuff. What's really important is being able to show up on the days where you're not feeling motivated. And if you're doing something hard, well then actually you'll probably find that there are a lot of days where you're not all that motivated to do it. That's where discipline comes in. Discipline is like a muscle, and you don't build muscle by eating junk food. You build muscle by using it and by giving it the nutrition that it needs. So it's about time we talked about discipline. What exactly is discipline and how do we train our discipline muscle? I want to define exactly what it is we're talking about here so that there's no ambiguity whatsoever. And first of all, we're not actually talking about discipline. What we're talking about is self-discipline. According to a few different dictionaries, self-discipline is the ability to make yourself do things you know you should do even when you do not want to. According to Collins Dictionary, it is the ability to control yourself and to make yourself work hard or behave in a particular way without needing anyone else to tell you what to do. And if you look up Wikipedia, you will find this definition. Self-discipline is the practice of self-restraint, controlling one's emotions, and ignoring impulses. So that's what self-discipline is, but we need to go one step further and understand why you might actually want to control your impulses and your emotions. And what I think most of us are after is the self-discipline required to do something consistently enough to achieve some goal or goals. There are two very important words in there: consistency and goal. With consistency, we can achieve amazing things. Consistency, after all, is what allows a stream of water to carve through solid rock. However, with consistency, you can also destroy everything. For example, if you consistently smoke and drink and do drugs, you're probably not going to end up in a very good place. Conversely, if you eat well and exercise and build community and sleep well, you're probably going to end up in a pretty good place. Then there's the goal. You can do random things consistently, but that's probably not what you want to do. If you're going to go to all this effort being consistent, well, then you probably want to focus that effort on something specific. As an example, let's look at one of my goals, which is to stay strong and mobile in spite of psoriatic arthritis. Now, in order to do that, I need to stay on top of my diet, I need to exercise, I need to do mobility and flexibility work, I need to walk, do breath work, all of that stuff that helps me keep inflammation low. Now, it doesn't really matter if I really, really want some ice cream. I need to resist that urge. And resisting that urge like once a month isn't going to cut it. I need to be able to do that consistently over time. So whether your goal is to learn to play guitar, get a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, write a book, paint a masterpiece, etc., etc., you need to work on it consistently. And in order to be consistent, you're going to need some self-discipline. So how do we build that self-discipline muscle? Well, we're going to get to that in a minute, but I've got one more very important thing that I want to cover. I believe that there are actually two different types of discipline, so let's talk about that. So the two types of discipline, according to me, are do something discipline or discipline, and don't do something discipline or don't discipline. The idea here is that do something discipline is the discipline that you need in order to do something. So for example, if you want to go for a walk every day, or if you want to go to the gym 3 times a week, you need to have the self-discipline to make yourself do it regardless of how you're feeling on any given day. Don't do something discipline is the discipline you need to stop yourself from doing something. So whether it's not having a cigarette or not eating that bowl of ice cream or not having that bar of chocolate, this is the discipline you need to restrain yourself from doing something. So we can think about it like this. Imagine you've got an angel over one shoulder and a devil over another shoulder. When you're trying to do something that you know will benefit you in the future, your angel is cheering you on. Your angel is your number one fan. But the devil is telling you not to do it. The devil is telling you to relax. So if you need to go to the gym, your angel's going, go do it. You'll know you'll feel better after your workout. You'll feel stronger. You always do. Your devil's going, nah, don't bother. You're feeling weak today. There's no point in going to the gym. But when you're trying to not do something, they swap places. So now your devil is telling you to do it. He's saying, go eat that piece of chocolate or have that cigarette or whatever it is. And your angel is trying to stop you. Your angel's now saying, no, don't do it. You're going to regret that tomorrow. Both types of self-discipline have their challenges, but for me personally, I find don't do something disciplined to be a little bit more challenging than do something disciplined. I can make myself have a cold shower. I can make myself go for a workout or go for a walk, but not eating that piece of chocolate or not having that ice cream, that can be a little bit more challenging. Anyway, the reason I think this is important is that it's useful to understand where do you struggle in terms of self-discipline. So you can focus maybe a little bit more energy on that. For me, I tried to focus a little bit more on my don't do something discipline because I know that I struggle there. But having said all that, we still need to work on both types of discipline. So let's talk about how to build your discipline muscle. Okay, we are finally here. It is time to talk about how to build self-discipline. And to do that, I'm going to wrap all this up in 5 tips that I think will be really, really helpful for you. The first tip is set a goal. If you're trying to build self-discipline, then it probably goes without saying that you're trying to achieve something or maybe trying to make some changes in your life. So you've got a goal. Now, when thinking about goals, it's useful to think about them from both a strategic perspective and from a tactical perspective. So, for example, my strategic goal is to be strong, mobile, and healthy in spite of arthritis, but that's, as a goal, is kind of nebulous and undefined. There'll never be a day where I am just strong, healthy, and mobile. It's not something that you achieve and you have that I can put on the shelf behind me there. It is something that's a constant, ever-changing thing. For example, I am pretty strong right now, but when I'm 60, I won't be as strong as I am right now, but I want to be strong for a 60-year-old when I am 60. So this is a kind of constant state of being that's going to ebb and flow and fluctuate. But that is my overall strategic goal. That is what I'm trying to do. Now, in order to support that goal, I need some tactical goals. So tactical goals look a lot more specific. So for example, a tactical goal might be, I'm not going to eat any sugar today, or I'm going to eat vegetables with every meal for the next week. I'm going to lift weights 3 times this week. I'm going to go out walking every day this week. They are all very tangible, measurable things. They are short term. These are the goals that, when combined and executed on consistently over long periods of time, will allow me to meet my overarching strategic goal. These tactical goals are all specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-boxed, or SMART. This is a useful way to think about and structure your goals to try and maximize your chances of success. So when you're thinking about your tactical goals, think about making them SMART. It's also important to mention that I can miss a tactical goal from time to time and still hit my strategic goal. But when I consistently miss my tactical goals, well, then I'm going to miss my overall strategic goal. So when you're thinking about your goals, think about strategy. What are you trying to achieve? What is the broad overarching thing you're trying to do? And then the tactical goals that you need to execute on consistently in order to feed into that broader, larger strategic goal. Tip number 2 is start small, but show up every day. So if you want to improve your self-discipline, you need to practice. And this practice is the same as it is with anything else. For example, if I gave you a guitar and you wanted to start learning guitar, you're not going to try and play Jimi Hendrix the second you pick it up, right? That's not going to work because you need to practice, you need to put in the work. And self-discipline is exactly the same. What's important is to start small and to be consistent over a long period of time. I think we're all kind of guilty of trying to make these huge sweeping changes in our life. So in your mind, you might think, okay, on Monday it starts. I'm going to quit smoking, I'm going to eat vegetables, I'm going to work out, I'm going to start running. And it's just too much. Your discipline muscle will be exhausted before you even get started. What's more important is to show up every day, and starting small will enable you to do that. So how do you start small? Well, I can give you some examples, but this is going to change from person to person based on your specific goals. But here's some things you can try. So maybe for the next 7 days, you wake up every morning and the first thing you do is drink a glass of water. Now, that sounds silly, it sounds stupidly easy, but try it. Get up, go to your sink, fill a glass of water and drink it. First thing you do every day. You're going to be surprised actually with how difficult that is to consistently do, even over just 7 days. So try that. You could try to take 1 minute to breathe every day for the next month. Just sit down and breathe for a minute. Slow down your breathing, maybe in for a few seconds, hold for a few seconds, out for a few seconds, hold for a few seconds. And just do it for a minute. Again, we're starting small. A minute isn't that much of your time. You could do it while sitting on the bus or even while sitting in traffic. Maybe you could make your bed every morning for the next 2 weeks. If you're not in the habit of making your bed, why not try it? Do that consistently. Again, it takes probably 2 minutes and you can do it consistently pretty easily. Maybe don't look at your phone for 30 minutes after waking up every day for the next week. If you're in the habit of waking up in the morning, grabbing your phone and scrolling Instagram or whatever, try not doing that for a week. Don't eat for an hour before bed next week. Again, we're just trying to do things that will make us feel better, but are easy enough to kind of gradually introduce us to building self-discipline and building consistency in this regard. Notice that there's a mix here of things that we're trying to do and things that we're trying not to do. So we're trying to flex both our discipline and don't discipline muscles. So for me, to give a more specific example, if I was just starting out and I had my goal of living better with arthritis, I might start like this. So week 1, I might say I'm going to get out for a walk at least 4 times. Week 2, Maybe I'm going to say get out for a walk at least 4 times, minimum of a 20-minute walk each time. Also, I'm going to add, I'm going to eat vegetables with every dinner. For week 3, maybe I say I'm going to get out for a walk at least 5 times. Now, notice that is a little bit easier than week 2, because in week 2, all my walks had to be 20 minutes. But in week 3, now I'm saying I'll go out 5 times, so it's an extra walk, but I'm not mandating that the walk needs to be at least 20 minutes. Maybe I only eat vegetarian for 1 day, and maybe I only drink water and herbal tea for the entire week. Then for week 4, I'm ramping up a little bit again. I say get out for a walk at least 5 times with a minimum of 20 minutes each time. Now I'm saying I'm going to eat vegetables with every lunch and dinner, and I'm going to say I'm only going to drink water and herbal tea. Remember, self-discipline is a long-term endeavor, so it's okay to start slow. You're not losing anything by not storming out the gate and making huge sweeping lifestyle changes all at once. We're talking about the rest of your life here. So start slow and build the foundation that you need to be able to be successful in the long term. Tip number 3 is practice discomfort daily. It can be uncomfortable to do things that you don't want to do, right? You're forcing yourself to do something that your brain is telling you, I don't want to do this. So you need to get better at dealing with this discomfort. Now, fortunately, you can also train yourself to get better at dealing with discomfort. And it's pretty easy to do, and you don't need to put that much time into it. All you need to do is try doing something uncomfortable every day. So, for example, take a cold shower. That's a pretty straightforward, easy way to do something uncomfortable. Turn the water cold for the last minute of your shower. That will help you practice discomfort. Maybe you can lift some weights. Maybe you can try reading a challenging book. Meditate. Try a new vegetable. Tell a loved one that you love them. Start a conversation with a stranger. I'm just coming up with these things randomly. They're all things that kind of make me a little bit uncomfortable. But you can practice this stuff day to day. Whatever makes you uncomfortable, try and do it. But again, start slow and start building up that resistance to discomfort. Remember, no growth or change ever happens from inside your comfort zone. You need to learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's a horrible cliched, one of those motivational quotes that I was complaining about earlier on. But it's true. It's a useful thing to be able to do. Tip number 4 is to treat this as an exploratory journey. You're learning, which means you will be bad in the beginning and you will get better over time. That's how learning works. From time to time, you'll wander down a path that doesn't work out, and that's fine. Just take note of what you learned and head off in a different direction. I can't give you a prescription of exactly what you should do. Neither can anyone else for that matter. It just doesn't work like that. Even some of these tips, some of them might click for you, some of them might not. I'm just trying to give you a starting point, a map and a compass. It's up to you to figure out how to navigate the terrain that you find yourself on. So approach this with an open mind and be kind to yourself if you get lost along the way. Tip number 5 is take notes. Get a diary, put X's on a calendar, scratch notches in a wall. It doesn't matter what you do, just track your progress. So I have 5 years worth of these diaries. Every January I buy a new one. Every page is a day. And on every page I write down what I did. So I've got every workout, every walk, every mobility class for the last several years tracked in one of these. This, talking about motivation, is hugely motivational because I don't want to break this chain. I've got 5 years worth of data that I have tracked. I'm not going to miss a day because I don't want a page of that diary to be empty. So this is a learning process, and I think with any learning process, if you're writing, taking notes and writing down what you're learning along the way, it will be hugely beneficial. And finally, I want to wrap up with some really important things to remember. First off is, again, show up every day. I think this is really important. Even if you don't do much, just show up. If you only go for a 5-minute walk, hell, a 3-minute walk, just go out and do your 3-minute walk. Walk to the end of your front garden and back if you have to. If you live in an apartment, walk down the corridor and back. Whatever it is, do something, be consistent, show up every day. Consistency is where the magic happens. And following on from that, this one is also really important and related. If you fall off, if you miss a day, it's not all lost. You can get back on the next day. Even if you miss a week, you can get back on the following week. Don't get too dejected. Don't feel bad. And Try not to feel sorry for yourself if you slip off in terms of your discipline. You can get back on and you can continue the next day. Thirdly, self-discipline is a mindset, and I think it's really important to have the mindset where you are not giving yourself options. So for example, if I'm going to say in the morning I'm going to get up at 6 o'clock and I'm going to go for a walk. When I wake up at 6 o'clock, I don't have options. It's not a multiple choice questionnaire or something like that. I wake up and my option is get out of bed and go for a walk. I don't have stay in bed for another half hour and then go for a walk. I don't have stay in bed for another hour. I don't have snooze the alarm clock 3 times and then go for a walk. I have one option. Get up and go for a walk. Cultivate that mindset. Remove options. There is only one option, and it's your self-discipline. So the final thing that I want to touch on, and it's unintuitive, which to me makes it even more important, is it's easy to stop doing something that's working. So even from my own personal experience, when I'm hyper-disciplined and I'm eating well, I'm exercising, I'm doing all my mobility work, my pain levels tend to go down. So my discipline level is going up, my pain level is going down. And when I'm in that place, it's much easier for me to slip up. I can start saying, you know, I'm feeling pretty good, I'm going to eat that bit of chocolate. I'm feeling pretty good, I'm going to have that pizza. Whatever it is, I'm feeling better. It's almost like I'm cured. So my mindset becomes, well, it's okay for me to slip now because I'm feeling good. I've won. My discipline has gotten to the point where I have succeeded. I now have discipline. You can't buy discipline. You can't own discipline. Discipline is rented, and you need to show up every day, because as soon as that mindset starts to trickle in, your discipline will start to go down. And for me, okay, what happens is discipline goes up, pain goes down. And then we plateau where discipline's at a certain level and pain's at a certain level. And then what happens is discipline starts to slip and pain starts to come back up. And this again is when something works, we tend to stop doing it. So be mindful of that. This applies to all sorts of things. You know, if you get on a diet and your goal is to lose some weight and it's working, it's very easy to go, oh, my diet's working, I'm looking better, I'm feeling good, I've achieved my goal, so I'm just going to, you know, have this takeaway today, or I'm going to eat this pizza or this chocolate or whatever it is. But then you start to slip, and it is a slippery slope back down. You know, you've worked hard to get your discipline up. You've worked hard over whatever period of time, but the slippery slope is always there. And when we're at our most successful, I think is when it's easy to slip back down that slippery slope. That's all I've got for today. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate you. Consider liking and subscribing if you like the video. If you have any questions, comments, or if you disagree, throw it in the comment section and I will try and get back to you. Other than that, have a great day.